Walsh. I am a film critic here in LA. I'm so excited to be moderating this conversation with the legendary John Lithgow.
Good evening.
So no unexpected guests tonight, John. No Jenny Penn, she's not in the building.
No. I just hold a microphone now. Can you hear me?
Yes. You've left your sidekick behind for the night, so thank you very much. Well, this is such a fun movie to be doing right now at this part of your career. I feel like, you're doing Conclave and you're gonna be Dumbledore soon, and like throwing in a little low budget indie horror film. What was it that drew you to doing this project?
It was mainly this gentleman, James Ashcroft. I wish you were interviewing him as well tonight. I read the script and I found it completely appalling and terrifying, and it was fascinating. Being a character actor, I could certainly see that I could make a meal out of this.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, I only say this because Jeffrey's not here, and don't tell him, but James gave me the choice of either of these roles.
Oh, okay.
It's the first time I've said this, actually.
Oh, exclusive.
Probably bad form, but he sent this completely captivating letter along with the sort of the deck, the Bible that described the film. And the first line of the letter was, "Dear John, I must be honest, you were not my first choice for either of these roles, but George Sanders and Alec Guinness were not available." I thought, this guy is cool.
Yeah.
He knows how to reel in an actor.
Oh, yeah.
And my manager, God bless him, Tony Lip, he said, "Don't reject this out of hand. Talk to this man." And I got on a Zoom with him, and we spoke for an hour and a half. And
Oh, wow.
he was a man of such humor, intelligence, compassion. He was he was persuasive just by virtue of how he talked about this film and his preoccupation with it for 10 years. He is a man of the theater in New Zealand. He was an actor, a director, a theater manager, and only in his 40s did he decide, I'm gonna make a go for, I love movies, I'm gonna try to make movies. Mm-hmm. And he bought this story by Owen Marshall, who's a notable New Zealand playwright. And it was too big to get financed by a complete novice, a rookie filmmaker. So he scraped together $500,000 and made Coming Home in the Dark. Raise your hands if you've seen that film. A few people have.
Oh, nice.
And it was amazing. An amazing and terrifying film, terrifying. Another psychological suspense film. This is his favorite genre.
Okay.
Although he sees beyond just scaring people.
Right.
He just brought me around. He appealed to me. I reread the script. I picked Dave Creeley because I just thought, I don't want to watch somebody else play this part. And it was a wonderful filmmaking experience.
Right.
Going to New Zealand, immersing myself into that community and that culture, and you may not know this, but all the actors who play octogenarians, nonagenarians, they're all great New Zealand actors with 50-year careers behind them. They were having so much fun.
Yeah.
They just loved it. They had all worked together themselves.
Okay.
They welcomed me in. I
Yeah.
was the only non-Antipodean.
Yeah.
And of course, Jeffrey was spectacular to work with.
Was this the first time you two had worked together?
No, he played the major title role in the life and death of Peter Sellers.
Oh, yes.
An HBO film, and I just played Blake Edwards.
Okay, right.
And we had some wonderful times.
Okay.
3 or 4 terrific scenes
Mm-hmm.
together, but it was that was his star turn.
Right.
But we hit it off. We were very similar as actors.
Right.
In that we come out of theater and we're sort of dogged, detail oriented.
Mm-hmm.
tell me if I'm talking too long.
No, I could listen to you talk.
Okay.
Just keep going. I'm just listening to the stories. I mean, speaking of details though, one of the things that creeped me out so much was the light blue contacts.
Good.
And I was like, why are these really creeping me out so much? Like, it's just a normal eye color, but just for some reason on you, because we know your face so well, it was throwing me off. And then I know you also had some prosthetic teeth as
Yes.
well. So
Yeah.
was that a James decision or a John decision? Did you come in with these sort of character details about how you would look?
I pitched everything to
Okay.
James. I just wanted to completely wrench this character away from anything anyone recognized
I see,
about
yeah.
me.
Right.
That was the idea. And I thought just silvery, slate gray eyes would be very, very chilling.
Yeah.
And I just thought crooked teeth made me more kind of poor working class, a janitor who's been hanging around, who's been working for 50 years, 60 years in this place. That and just growing my beard a bit. And,
Kind of unkempt a little bit.
but it was just that, yanking me away from a sense of myself. And I am quoting the great Australian filmmaker George Miller, who directed me in The Twilight Zone episode, The Monster at 35,000 who was a real game-changing director for me. He was the first director. I'm a theater actor, and he was the first director to tell me to do more rather than less.
Yeah,
Just
okay.
always more. Every director had told me, John, take it down. But he would say, I want to see your face crack. And I was like, oh boy, have you found the right actor? But he pitched to me all sorts of thought. He said, what about a cold sore? Can you have a cold sore? I said, do we want to mess with that makeup? I don't think why. He said, what about black hair? Greasy black hair? I said, George, what are we after here exactly? He says, I want to give you something that will take you away from a sense of yourself.
Right.
Forgive my Australian accent.
No, your accent's really good. I was noticing that in the movie.
Yeah, well, that's a New Zealand accent.
Okay,
It's
who did
very
you get that
difficult to
from?
get the distinction. Any Aussies here or Kiwis?
Oh,
Thank
hello.
God. Oh, well, there is one. That's the judgmental one in the back.
How was the accent? Okay, good,
Oh,
good, good.
thumbs up, thumbs up. Thank you so much. I'm gonna cry. No, I had a marvelous dialect coach named Jenny Kent.
Well,
The
Jenny
rule of
Penn and Jenny
Kent.
Penn.
She was there all the time. And she was just terrific. And it was a matter of putting together the pieces. But from a distance, I would send photographs of myself. I got the contacts made, and they were the wrong color for me. And I happened to be in London for a week, and I called up this man named Christopher Lyons, who's the great English toothmeister.
Okay.
Who he makes all of Tilda Swinton's teeth. And
Oh my God.
Meryl Streep's Maggie Thatcher teeth.
Oh my God.
And I said, okay, he had made my plumpers for Churchill.
Okay.
The things that clicked to my back teeth inside my mouth and gave me jowls. And he came up, he showed me lots of things that he'd done for various people. And I picked that.
Okay.
And sent pictures of them to James, and had him send the same sort of portfolio to James. And we were literally on opposite sides of the world making all these decisions.
So you kind of dialed in what the look would be.
Yeah, when I arrived, there were the teeth, and we were ecstatic.
And did these little details just help you get into that character? I mean, what is it that you need to sort of get into a character like this?
Well, yeah, it's pure acting. I mean, it's just lots of trickery, but yes, you put those teeth in. Try false teeth, you'll see. You just feel completely differently about yourself.
Right. And how much prep did you do with Jenny Penn?
You mean with the doll?
Yeah.
There again, he had a puppet master for me.
Oh, amazing.
Who had fashioned the puppet. We did have a long tug-of-war debate about Jenny Penn's eyes. He liked the idea of just the vacant eye sockets of a discarded doll. And I said, there has to be something that looked like eyes.
Oh, okay.
It was really a battle royal. I'm not combative, but I went to the mat on this. And they came up with that wonderful device of a second little layer with a circle, a whole board in it.
Right.
Don't you agree? I mean, you could really see Jenny Penn as a person.
There's like a glowing aspect to it.
Well,
Yeah.
whenever there's light behind her, you see the lights, the eyes pop up, and everybody was delighted.
Yeah.
But details constantly.
Like this is such a physical role. I mean, it's whether it's, you know, the fight at the end, or you working with Jenny Penn, or even just like creeping in hallways and stuff. I mean, it's almost, I mean, I wonder if is there a difference to prepping for something that is so visual storytelling versus, you know, lots of dialogue and script and all of this stuff? I mean, when you approach that as an actor.
Yeah, it is a very physical role. I mean, there's those very violent scenes out in the woods with the little old Eunice Joyce, in the middle of the night in the cold of the swamp. That was hideously physical. But there was also the dancing, the music hall dancing.
Right.
The scene that made me truly want to play Dave Creeley.
Was the dancing?
Yeah, and singing, belting an English music hall song. And I had a choreographer for that. James was just great at just nailing down every tiny little detail. He was very meticulous, wonderfully prepared, and very patient. He's the sweetest man. I do hope you meet him sometime. And as I say, that's my kind of director, my kind of scene partner. We just were all pulling together in the same direction. It's great. Now, I don't know how you responded to this film. It's a terrifying, gruesome film.
Yeah.
But he had such a serious intent. This is what persuaded me. He said, there were several things in the first script that I read that he, in the process, decided to delete. I'll give you an example, just to tell you more of what I'm talking about. When I realize that I've got the wrong key card and I run back out into the wilderness to find Eunice Joyce, and I find her in the mud, and I have to get the key out of her pocket. In the first script that I read, she lurched back to life. And I read that and I thought, wow, this is gonna scare the shit out of me. And James cut that out. And I didn't notice it until we arrived on the set to do the scene. I said, James, where's the big ball mud? He said he didn't. It's just too much of a conventional.
Like a jump scare.
A jump scare. That was the phrase. I didn't even know that phrase, but he said, we're not doing that kind of film.
Right.
And when you think about it, we're not. We are taking a good, close look at something that is you ordinarily avert your eyes from. Right. The depredations of old age and the melancholy of it, the sadness and the discomfort, and he did not shy away from that. He wanted to make a film about that. An interesting thing about to know about James is his wife is a wonderful woman. She's the president and CEO of a set of senior care facilities in New Zealand. And she's second generation. Her mother and father created these very good old age homes. He really takes the subject seriously. And beyond that, he wanted to make a film about bullying and cruelty, where that comes from. Trace a sadistic person, trace him back to his youth and to where the damage took place. What damage was done to this person to make him so cruel?
Some of the scenes that were the most uncomfortable to watch were just sort of like Jeffrey Rush's character sort of, still being of sound mind, but having, not lost the physical ability, and him coming from this high status position as a judge, and then sort of navigating how to exist in this world. And so it's like those were sort of uncomfortable scenes to watch, and even more so than necessarily the violence or the cruelty, just that kind of, I don't know what the word is, I guess feeling degraded in this space.
Not to mention not being believed.
Right, exactly, the gaslighting of it,
being
yeah.
thought to be senile and
Yeah.
and demented.
Right,
And
right.
he was the one who was right.
Yeah.
They were deluded.
You mentioned that James had referred to George Sanders and Alec Guinness, and one thing that I was thinking about watching this movie was sort of the hagsploitation genre of like, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte, with these older actresses in the 50s and 60s where they're kind of torturing each other. What were some of the references that James was giving you to work with? Was he referencing actors or films or anything to sort of color this in for you, or?
Yes, there was a kind of shorthand. Baby Jane certainly came up.
Okay.
Actually, doing press for the film last week, I heard the phrase psycho-biddy for the first time.
Yeah, that's akin to hagsploitation.
Yeah, hagsploitation.
Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I have a long bucket list.
You have a watch
Of
list.
genres to tick off. Well,
Yeah.
there goes that. And of course, you tend to think of portmanteau ideas like a cross between Misery and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Right, exactly, yeah.
But in my mind, the films I thought about for this were, well, Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah,
Which is truly a horror film, and it's about Satanism and mad people who are trying to get a human being to give birth to the devil's child. Of course, that's grotesque, but it's treated so realistically.
yeah.
And those performances by Ralph Bellamy and Ruth Gordon.
Oh, God, amazing.
They're just great performances, and Roman Polanski really treated the subject absolutely deadpan, and it was terrifying. That was one of my main.
And that element of like not being believed, the gaslighting, that's like a really strong theme for both of those
And
films.
creating a world that you know is there, but you've never been inside it. I mean, if you've lived to the age of 60, you have been in that, because you've had parents who've grown old, if you're lucky.
Right.
And you have visited them in their retirement communities. I think Cuckoo's Nest was a wonderful reference point
Yeah,
for
definitely.
us, because I watched that film again while we were doing the Jenny Penn, and it treated that community with such dignity by treating it authentically. And it's disturbing to watch for sure, but you have the comfort of knowing these people wanted you to see the real thing.
Right, and the sort of community of it, and the different characters in this
and
enclosed microcosm.
And the kindness, those moments of kindness, those different carers in the film. There's some of my favorite characters, these wonderful Maori women, for the most part, who were they were like that. They were just so kind and so sweet and happy. These happy, cheerful people, and they were all really good actors from the Maori theater community. Jeffrey's character, he reveals himself in the very first scene as a real son of a bitch. He judges, he sentences this man to prison, and then turns on the woman.
Right.
And balls her out too. It's like an equal opportunity sadist. And you see him travel this long journey to wiping the tears off of George's. And that actor, George Henry, he's one of the great New Zealand actors. He's a Maori.
He's amazing.
He's a beautiful man and a beautiful performance.
Yeah, I do. We were watching the final scene at the end here. I love that it's sort of a four-way fight. Jenny Penn's getting in there, getting some flicks in. But it sounds like you're, shooting at this, in New Zealand with this group of people. It sounds almost like it was summer camp or something.
Yeah, in fact, it was quite an extraordinary atmosphere. There is this, I can't remember the name of it, but it's a kind of resort hotel in the woods near Lake Taupo.
Okay.
Raise your hands if you're a Kiwi, or if you know about Taupo. It's a beautiful part of the middle of the North Island. And everybody knows about this place.
Okay.
It's this seedy old, it's been around for 90 years. Everybody went there for family vacations when they were kids. And it is just this comfortable, shabby, old, threadbare place. And we had the run of it for 3 weeks.
Wow.
We shot soundstage work in Wellington and everything else up in Taupo, and we all lived in the room.
Amazing.
Had all our meals in the
Yeah.
dining room. We went to the bar every night after shooting.
Okay.
And it was the most community
Yeah.
oriented work. It sounded like a Wes Anderson film.
Right.
What they all say about working on that film, except everybody was over 80 years old.
Well, John Lithgow, thank you so much for joining us to
I
chat about
could
the
have gone
film
on
tonight.
forever.
I